Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hello, I'm Kevin.
Hey guys, this is John.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we take a long, hard look back at some of our favorite action movies from the era of Arnold.
Schwarzenegger is the icon of the genre, and we're taking a deep dive into some of these 80s and 90s cult action movies and breaking them all the way down.
Everybody loves a winner. Everyone can see that I am. Everybody follows the leader, baby. Cruising down the streets of Siam.
What's up, John? How you feeling?
Brother, I'm feeling good. How are you feeling? I'm feeling lovely as hell.
I'm doing great. I'm feeling good as hell.
Yeah.
Have made it practically to the end of Kickboxer here.
That's right.
Awesome flick. So
A lot has happened.
Yeah. Previously on 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger.
That's right.
Xian had taken Kurt to a bar where he proceeded to impress everyone with both his dance moves and ass-kicking ability. He sort of wrangled his way into getting a fight with a real contender who
That's
he
right.
mopped the floor with. And then he tells Freddie Lee, I want to fight with Tong Po, the big bad. So Freddie Lee gives the clenched fist of affirmation. And the fight is on. So Kurt's brother Eric, who has previously been crippled by Tong Po, he's gotten out of the hospital. The invitation for a fight has been extended by Tong Po to Kurt, so it's basically going to be on. Tong Po, in a bit of strategy, I guess, has abducted Mai Li and assaulted her, and then I guess released her.
Yep.
That sort of brings us up to the moment, I think. Let's get back into the plot here.
Where are we? So we open on Kurt training on his own at Stone City, where most of the movie's best shots are at this temple. And the eagle pays him a visit, and Kurt finds him sitting in front of a Buddha statue. He and the
Trying
eagle
to get my good eagle call, and I can't fucking do it. Hold on. Let me
just keep going. Keep trying.
I think it's the bourbon.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so he and the eagle stare at each other. He names it Sharak. Then Kurt
It is
bows
like
to-
some Beastmaster shit.
Then
They're
Kurt
like
bows to the Buddha
communicating.
I guess that's what they were doing. No one
They've mind melded.
ever since Kurt ate the cobra heads, he's been seeing and hearing weird shit. So I blame it on Taylor.
I'm ticked they never explain any significance of what the eagle symbolizes, or if it's anyway.
I have no idea. So
He's become one with Thailand, I think is what it means.
Oh, I get that. So yeah, maybe I can't either. But I was going to say maybe he's like one with nature, one with his surroundings, one with his
He
inner
became one
self.
with Mai Li in the last chapter.
Oh, he made it with her in the jungle. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Eric is doing some kata in his wheelchair, which I actually thought was pretty cool. He's like trying a different path, and I respect that. He's like, my brutal, brutish way of doing things before wasn't working, so now I'm going to try a gentler way. I think that's pretty cool. But Freddie Lee's main goon and some other guys are sneaking up the driveway.
Yes.
And so Eric sees them, and they give chase as he tries to get away. Eric, Chan's booby traps, and Kiki manage to take out several of the goons. Eric's still strong as fuck, which is great, and lights one of those dudes up immediately.
Yeah.
He's still really strong. As Kiki attacks one guy, a goon gets the drop on Eric, at which point Freddy's lieutenant, the photographer, runs up, dumps Eric out of his wheelchair, and pulls out one of his throwing knives, which he throws at Kiki.
Motherfucker.
No, that's some bullshit.
There's nothing like seeing somebody hurt a dog.
There's nothing like it.
That's the ultimate, hurt a person, you can understand that, but to hurt an animal,
that's an unforgivable sin. Yeah, it's like you've stamped your ticket yourself to hell.
You know, when this guy gets it, it's going to be unpleasant.
Yeah, you're getting it with a cement truck or something. It's going to be bad news. So the bad guys leave Kiki lying in the dirt, and they drag Eric away. Taylor arrives and sees the aftermath. And then a moment later, Kurt, Xian, and Miley return.
That had me wondering, like, where the hell was everybody?
Taylor is always doing coke, a deal, or a hooker.
Yeah, he was off scoring drugs. But the others, I don't. Kurt, Xian, and Miley, I'm just like, you guys are all gone off somewhere.
It was that after dinner. Yeah, and why wasn't Eric invited?
Yeah, it's just it made me wonder why he was left alone, other than that it was just convenient for the plot.
Like, yeah, maybe they decided to run down to this, but they didn't come back with anything. So yeah, I don't know. So Taylor explains that this is the work of Freddie Lee when Kurt's like, what happened?
What the hell happened?
Kurt asks if Taylor was there and said it wouldn't be a surprise to him if he had been and just let the bad guys do their thing. That's fucking cold.
Yeah,
Kurt,
that's fucked. Like, Taylor explains, though, this is Freddie Lee did this.
That's your bro.
He just lashes out like, you think I would have let him do this if I would have been here? And he's like, you've done it before. It's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, his first reaction is to like lay into him and say, well, this is probably your fault somehow.
Like, wow.
Kurt still got the mind of an immature teenager, I guess. Xian tells Taylor that Kiki is alive. Thank God Kiki is alive. And that they need to go to the town doctor like pronto. And then tells Kurt that this is all of this mayhem is to ensure that he won't win against Tong Po. This is his mental and emotional warfare.
Yes.
And they've got a hostage, and if you win, they'll kill him. That's pretty...
Yeah. So again, Kurt is pleading with Taylor, like, help him find Eric or help him find where is Freddie Lee to lead him to Eric, I guess. And Taylor says no, flat out.
Why?
And then Kurt lays into him like, all right, go ahead, be a chicken shit all your life. And this particular time, I feel like Kurt's anger at Taylor is like a little more justified because Taylor seems like he's way more into helping Kiki make it to a vet than he is in helping to save Eric's life.
Yeah, well, maybe Kurt should have thought about that and finished vet school, and then we wouldn't be in this mess anyway.
He could have patched Kiki up in no time.
Oh, I don't understand because Taylor now, he knows the score. He knows who they're dealing with, and they've got a hostage. So I just don't understand why Taylor at this point would be like, yeah, we're not doing this. No.
Yeah, I don't get it exactly. At the same time, I would even say Xian is like, come on, Taylor, let's go.
We need to get this dog to the doctor.
And I'm like, Xian, come on, man. You fucking know that. I mean, I would hope you value any human's life over the life of your animal. Yeah. But I don't know. Anyway,
maybe Xian's looking at it very fatalistically. It's like, we can only deal with one of these problems right now, and that's the dog, and we'll deal with Eric after the dog.
That's true. And, they're going to be up against an army, I guess, trying to get Eric.
Yeah. So they load up the injured Kiki in the van and prepare to leave, and I'm just glad Kiki's alive, you guys.
Yes,
to tell you the
definitely.
Truth. As they're about to leave, Miley confronts Taylor and tells him that he has to help Kurt. She confesses that Tong Po raped her, but that she didn't tell Kurt because his mind must be clear for the fight, and she pleads for him to help find Eric.
Yes.
And Taylor sort of shakes his head and drives off. What will he do, Kevin? Only time will tell.
It seemed like Miley's plea is what finally moved Taylor.
Right.
To recognize that this situation, this cannot stand.
This is a line in the sand. He remembered he was Kurt's ride or die. He had forgotten for a moment.
This aggression will not stand.
Cut to the underground tomb. Assholes are smashing glass with hammers and securing it in a lockbox. Mm-hmm. We get a zoom out that shows the whole setting.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's like boom, boom, just like immediately from one thing to the other.
This movie keeps it moving. Like they're just like, all right, it's fight night.
Yeah, it's very, very abrupt. We get a zoom out that shows the whole setting, and it looks like a good place for a kumite or a fight location for a Mortal Kombat fight.
I wonder if that was on a soundstage or if that was real.
I think it's probably a soundstage.
Probably.
Yeah. But it's anyways like this red circular ring. There's lots of torchlight. So this is the ancient way we gather in the underground tomb.
In the old underground tomb.
That's right. Xian hands Eric's damaged championship belt to Mai Li. Kiki's there, so the vet did their job. That's good.
Yes, thank God.
Thank God. Tong Po enters and the crowd chants his name a la Chong Li in Bloodsport.
Yeah, dude.
The bad guys all look pretty confident. And why wouldn't they? Honestly, they're holding all the cards.
This seems like one of those situations where like the crowd feels compelled to cheer for him. Like they need to appear to be loyal to the warlord or whatever. Because I wonder, the same with Chong Li, like why is the crowd so behind this person who's clearly
a bad guy?
Bad, yeah.
That's a good, well...
Maybe it is a thing of, well, maybe they're front runners. They want to cheer for the winner. Everybody loves a winner.
It's like in wrestling when you cheer for the heel. Professional wrestling,
it's fun,
people cheer for the heel sometimes, even if they've killed someone, apparently.
Yes.
We see Freddie Lee, who gives another Finch Cliff of affirmation. Master Warlord is there. The gang is all here. Tong Po and Kurt have a stare down, but meanwhile,
it's pretty epic.
Yeah, they're like looking like it's staring daggers at each other, staring glass encrusted fists at each other. Meanwhile, at an undisclosed location, bad guys are holding Eric captive in a warehouse. And I feel so bad for poor Eric sitting dejected in that chair, how far his star has fallen over the course of this movie.
Man. He's helpless. He can't. That's got to be rough. Like
he
to
was
know
on
that
top
even
of
if
the
they
world.
all dropped, even if every bad guy just dropped dead, you're still stuck there because you can't go anywhere. Like you got no mobility.
He could crawl, I guess, or I don't know.
Yeah.
He's still a strong guy, but man, yeah, it'd be a time.
There's dudes playing cards in there, and there's also just prominently a very sharp hook hanging from the ceiling, like in the foreground. And the moment you see that hook, man, you know it's going into somebody.
I didn't think that. I was so wrapped up in the surrounding that I didn't even think that about the hook.
You can't show me a hook that sharp and not have it penetrate somebody.
It's going in some bad guy at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Someone's going to feel the wrath of that hook.
That hook is going into. I love it. Meanwhile, back at the old underground tomb, Kurt and Tong Po are having their hands wrapped up in hemp rope. I like that Mai Li is doing Kurt's wrapping. Like she knows what's up. She knows how to do that.
Yeah.
I just thought that was an interesting touch, that she's familiar with the old ways, at least in that regard. She knows how to do a wrapping for like a boxing.
Yeah.
This
isn't her first kumite.
Is it not? That's weird. Who was she kumiteing before with?
I don't know.
Ex-boyfriends. That's what she was alluding to earlier in the movie. A lot have come before you. They all died.
That's why he stopped training people, because everybody was fucking Mai Li.
All of my ex-boyfriends.
That's a shame. Mai Li's a good girl. She's a good girl.
We see Freddy send his main goon away. We're not really sure why. And at that moment
Xian is gone.
Yeah, and then Kurt notices that Xian's disappeared as well.
That made me wonder if Freddie Lee noticed that Xian was gone and that's why he sent him off, or if, because it seems kind of like cruel for Freddie Lee to let his guy come and watch the pregame and then like, all right, the fight's about to start. You got to go now.
Now go handle that other stuff. Or maybe he was just, that's a good point.
Maybe he noticed. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, is that he noticed, hey, Xian's left. Like you go make sure everything's okay at the warehouse. Whatever.
Kurt and Tong Po dip their hands in the resin and then the broken glass. I remember this scene so vividly, but rewatching, I feel like from when I was a kid, but I feel like upon a rewatch, that Tong Po could have gotten some better coverage with that resin. It's just like sort of on his knuckles, and it looks kind of unevenly distributed with more resin on his knuckles. But then when he pulls his hands out, the glass is all over it, so it looks pretty well covered. He did it the right way.
Tong Po licks the broken glass because, of course, he does.
That is fucking psycho, but also epic. But also, does he not like food? Like, what the hell? Like,
oh yeah, dude, I can't even imagine. But that's like the ultimate psych out move, isn't it?
It gives me shivers just thinking about it. Kurt does not seem the least bit phased, which that's great for him. I'd have been like,
and Kurt's like kneading his hands in that glass like it's fucking bread dough or something.
I want some bread. As they walk away from the glass, Freddie Lee walks up and tells Kurt if he wants Eric back alive, he better give the crowd a good show.
This is weird.
Which means the fight's got to go the full duration.
But what's weird to me is Kurt's reaction when he tells him, you want your brother back alive? Like, Kurt reacts as if he's surprised to learn that Freddie Lee even has his brother. He's like, my brother. And like he didn't know already that Freddie Lee's the guy who's got him.
Do you think
just
that
weird
was on
to me.
purpose, or do you think that that's Van Damme?
I think Van Damme's trying to do a little too much.
Like
my brother.
But
yeah, he says, let Tong Po punish you all the rounds. You must last to the end or brother die very slowly. You understand? And it's like smack, smack, smack on his face.
I don't ever touch my face ever. I would have been like, he would have drawn back a nub. But then the weird maniacal laughter.
The maniacal laughter. And that's like, man, Jim Cummings is just the voice actor who did this was crushing it.
Yeah, he is annihilating the game. Kurt is wearing, I'm not really sure what. It's like a weird loincloth with side flaps and nothing else but his pecs and abdominal sheath tip top.
Oh my God, man. I'm telling you, Van Damme's physique, holy shit.
Well done, Jean-Claude.
He's perfectly sculpted, like fucking from marble.
Yeah. It's
anyway,
pretty remarkable. A dude flips an hourglass, another guy bangs a gong, and on we go. Round one is starting. Yes. I love this whole idea of Tong Po, like Babe Ruth-like, calling his shots is kind of brilliant as far as this fight choreography goes. But Tong Po calls a shot each round. So he taps his knee for the first round, basically saying, all I'm going to use is my knees to kick your ass.
Yes, it's fucking awesome, dude.
And then he immediately starts batting away Kurt's weak attacks. He beats him up using his knees exclusively.
Question for you.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think that Tong Po knows that the fight is fixed?
I think that Tong Po would have an issue with that, but also I don't know.
I agree. It's not honorable to beat this guy who's not fighting back.
Yeah, but I think if anything, Tong Po might have. And just as far as that goes, he wants to beat a guy at their best. So that's interesting. But how would he not know when the entire rest of the criminal organization knew? I don't know. That's a good question.
I will say the things that they're fighting in, the little loincloths, they don't leave much to the imagination.
No.
There's plenty of ass on display.
So there's just this sequence where Kurt spends a lot of time rolling away, giving us a view of Van Damme's ass.
Plenty of his ass.
Like, why didn't he just stand up?
I don't know.
Instead, he's got to roll and show that ass. There's just a lot going on. Tong Po just starts wailing on him with his knees.
Yes.
The same kind of punishment that Eric took in that very first fight in the movie.
But we know Kurt's done his training. He can withstand some blows to the abdomen.
That's right. A gong mercifully ends the round.
Yes. And Tong Po shows restraint because I feel like he was getting ready to really tee off on him some more, and then the gong goes and he just
I think he wanted this fight for the most part to go down the right way.
But he wants to honor the ancient way or whatever, I guess.
If nothing else, honor the ancient way. That's my rule book. Back at the warehouse, Tian's rocking the shit and beating up some guards. Yep. He finds the keys because that's what he was looking for. Switch back over immediately to the fight. Tong Po taps his elbows this time.
Yes.
And then proceeds to whip ass with elbows for a little while.
It's basically a replay of the first round, except elbows instead of knees. I noticed watching throughout this fight, Tong Po's prominent shoulder tattoo jumps back and forth from one shoulder to the other.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in this round. But it's like this thing, I guess. I don't know if you're familiar. I took film classes, but there's this thing called the 180-degree rule, which is like, it's kind of like the same way you watch a stage show. You're only watching from one side. Mm-hmm. Like if you've got, say, Van Damme on the right and Tong Po on the left, like it's jarring to the audience if all of a sudden you cut to the other side of that, the 180-degree side that you're on.
Okay.
Like, and see if all of a sudden they were flipped and Van Damme was on the left and Tong Po's on the right or whatever, then it throws you off. So I think that the people who are editing this film must have decided that better that we flip the film over and hope no one notices that the tattoo moved than to all of a sudden have Tong Po moving in a direction that isn't in sync with the direction he should have been moving based on the last action that we saw or something.
That makes sense.
But yeah, it is weird though to see the tattoo just jump. For the most part, it stays in place, but there's like probably 5 or 6 times that it's just randomly on a different shoulder. odd.
I mean, I think I noticed the fact that it switched back and forth, but I didn't know about the 180 rule. So thanks for enlightening me on that. That's very cool. I knew that they switched film sometimes, just the orientation of the film, but I did not know about that. That's why we're here, folks, to inform.
And to enjoy alcohol.
That's right. If you're not drinking, you're doing it wrong.
Oh my God.
At the warehouse, Xian rams a driverless car through the wall of the building. He surprises one guy, but then he's immediately surrounded by men with guns.
It's not the best rescue mission ever.
Yeah, Xian,
he ambushes that one guy and does an awesome like flying kick. Yeah. And then there's just a dozen guys pointing guns at him. It's like he didn't really plan this that well.
Either that or he did plan it really well.
That's true.
Because of what happens.
The main goon gives the order to kill Xian, and he has one of the knives.
Yeah.
That is recognizable. It's a very distinct knife, the one that was stuck in Kiki with the like jewels or whatever in the handle. And he's like, kill him. And then and Xian sees that knife and recognizes it, and they get that like the fury of a man whose dog has been injured takes over.
That dude is not long for the world. But before they can kill Xian, machine gun fire rips through the room and Freddy's crew, and we see some close-up shots of someone with an M16A something, one of the ones with like a grenade launcher attached to it.
Yeah, dude, it's like the fucking gun that Arnold had in Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the gun is cool.
Sweet.
I remember kids used to come to school with like gun magazines. Isn't that weird? Like
yes,
in like
I know.
3rd or 4th grade, like would come to school with like gun magazines.
I was into it even when I worked at my very first job at like age 15 or something, working at Publix. I would sometimes in the magazine section check out the gun, like guns and ammo or whatever.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, anyway, man. Fascination with guns. It's a thing.
It's our country. It's movies. Even Eric gets in on the action. He's beating up guards. He's badass. The mystery gunman's launching grenades, blowing shit up.
Dude, Eric's legs are clearly moving during this part of the thing when he's beating people up from the seated position, but he's definitely shifting his legs around and using his legs for leverage and stuff. It's not great.
The mystery gunman is revealed, and it's... surprise, it's Taylor, you guys.
Holy shit, what a shocking twist.
Your man Taylor with the arms dealer is here. And he even gets a kiss-off line, which is cool, if not a little long. Sorry it took so long.
Xian asked him what took so long.
Sorry it took so long. Traffic was a mess. There's a big fight in town.
I love that line. Didn't we use that line in a movie? Didn't we use that line in All Fours?
Did we?
I feel like it was in the script. It might have been cut out. I don't know. I definitely have incorporated that in a script that I wrote.
Oh,
that exact quote. That's was awesome. A total non sequitur. I don't think it made any sense in the context of my thing, but
that's
paying homage to Kickboxer was important to me.
It's an indelible part of your childhood, and it makes sense. So the main henchman tries to get away, but Xian's not having that shit. You don't get to escape after what you've done, sir. And so that aforementioned hook that you described now comes into play.
Oh man.
Castration by hook was vengeance for Kiki.
Where do you think that hook went?
I think it went
like up in his taint.
I think that it hit him in the dick and like ripped all the way through his perineum.
So it went into the front. It went in the front. It went in his dick hole.
It went stem to stern.
Oh man!
Literally,
he's lifted up off the ground and he's flailing. It is intense.
Yeah, we don't know.
Feel his pain.
We don't know if he dies, but we feel like that was at least for now a fitting punishment.
Yes.
Back at the fight, we see Tong Po now tapping his fists, which means you can guess what it means at this point.
The glass-covered fists.
That's right. The stakes are getting high now because, his fists are covered in glass. Tong Po is cutting Kurt up. Ooh, and he's slicing and dicing. It's really gross. When he slices Kurt's belly, that's really unsettling to me. Even though I feel like there'd be a lot more blood than they actually show in this part.
Oh, I agree. But I also felt like Kiki the dog was watching all this go down and seems rather just like mellow and unimpressed. I mean, I guess Kiki is injured still.
Kiki's on drugs.
But like, honestly, I think if a dog saw a person that the dog was fond of being decimated, then the dog would try to interfere, like would try to jump in the ring and attack Tong Po.
What about if the dog is on drugs?
That's
like
true. The dog
painkillers?
might be sedated. He's definitely like probably had surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Kiki's on Cobra heads at this moment.
Dude, blood flies on Freddie Lee's face, who clearly is into it.
That dude's a freak. He's a freak.
Fucking creep.
Then Tong Po uses Kurt as a punching bag right up until the round ends. And I just want to say,
he hits him with like probably 50 unanswered punches to the gut, to the face.
The punches to the face. Like when we finally see Kurt, I would imagine that he should look like what Jesus looked like in Passion of the Christ. Just like ribbons of flesh hanging off of his body.
His face should look like fucking ground beef or something after that
that's
shit.
So rough. But then we get maybe
he looks
the most
still pretty though. He's like he
just,
seems
it's sort of red around the cheeks, kind of.
Yeah, his face should be cut to the bone.
Yeah, and like bones broken, likely.
Yes.
Unless Tong Po was holding back just enough that it would cut and not cause any like deeper damage. But anyway, then we get maybe the most savage line of this entire movie. Tong Po says in some sort of unearthly, inhuman sound that he intimates that he raped Mai Li.
He says that, he tells Kurt that he bleeds like Mai Li.
Oh, that's rough, man.
Yeah, dude.
And then Kurt freaks, rightfully so.
Van Damme lets out like the trademark. No!
Kurt goes to his corner and demands to know the truth. Mai Li can't bear to say it. And then we cut over to Tong Po, who gives that super sinister, evil laugh.
Yes, he's
So
definitely
crazy.
He's reveling in his own evilness,
enjoying the mental assassination that he's trying to inflict.
And it's
on
like, all
poor
right,
Kurt.
we get it. He is the devil.
Yeah, 100%.
We get it. I'm convinced.
And then as the next round is beginning and Mai Li can't get the words out, she does tell Kurt that she loves him, which I thought was like, that's heartbreaking. And like Van Damme actually does a really good job on his face here of just like, I don't even know how you overcome something like that in that moment.
Because he's still got to go out there and lose the fight, right?
Yeah.
Like he's still under orders that he's got to give it away.
Terrible.
What else is weird, as you say, Van Damme's performance is like pretty solid in this without words. The guy can emote.
Yeah.
He just has a hard time acting. He has a hard time fighting his own accent. He can win every fight except the fight against his own accent.
The fight against himself.
Yes.
He could beat any opponent he faced except himself.
Oh, poor guy. I love Van Damme.
I do too. I do too. As they step back in the ring, Tong Po gestures that he is now prepared to use the full arsenal. And I feel like I used to do this. I still do this to some people. Just like tap the elbows, tap the knees, and then tap the head. And then gesture like, what's up? Like it's the what's up gesture at the end. They're like, okay, here it comes. That always made me laugh.
If you were about to get in a fight with someone and they did that, it's just time to turn around and walk away.
I would laugh my ass off. I would laugh so hard. If I was about to get in a fight with someone and they did that, I would giggle my ass off before probably being beat to a pulp. Just then, Eric whistles loudly from the cheap seats, which stops all of the action, and he begins the Nuksu Cow chant.
Again, awkwardly, the timing is a little off on the chant.
Right, but the crowd is instantly and inexplicably into it.
Do you buy that the crowd just turned on a dime?
Well,
it was kind of like the crowd in Rocky IV. Like the crowd in Moscow just all of a sudden went for Rocky.
It was that he was showing that guts. He was showing those guts.
He really was.
Yeah. So
Kurt has that vision, like a flashback. He sees the eagle.
He sees Sharak and the warriors of old at the Stone City, and he gets juiced. He gets amped up. He turns and tells Mai Li to cut the ropes off his hands. What? Mm-hmm. As she's doing it, Tong Po approaches. He's coming, and he tells her not to worry.
Yeah.
Because just as she's finishing up, he turns and gets his first blow of the entire fight in. He makes Tong Po bleed his own blood, Kevin.
This is the bit of Van Damme choreographing his own fights that I don't really like.
Yeah,
is that
agreed.
He doesn't ever seem to want to have his opponent be any sort of a match for him. In an even fight, no one can touch him, whether it's Frank Dukes or fucking Lionheart.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, I guess because Tong Po hadn't needed maybe ever in his career to fight defensively, that all of this came as some sort of a shock.
Yeah.
But either way, whether he's either suddenly terrible or Kurt went absolutely Super Saiyan, more likely the latter, just that. It's a combination.
Damme, his thing is that he's always just eminently better than any of his opponents.
Yeah.
Like the only way that an opponent can ever give him a good fight is if they're cheating.
Right.
Which I'm like, come on. I mean, you get the Rocky fights and they're always sort of back and forth.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not just like
punches.
he comes on whales on somebody.
Oh, there's so much Van Damme doing Van Damme things in this scene. Freddy suddenly notices Xian next to him and goes to leave, but he gets stopped. There's that one part in every high stakes Van Damme movie where he kicks a person back and forth several times without changing legs or without toe tapping to get back on the ground.
This was like hyper speed, but there was also a lot of slow motion mixed in and a lot of prolonged Van Damme screaming after he had delivered a punch and staring at his own fist. Ah!
Yeah, Tong Po is knocked from the ring. Taylor stops the timekeeper from ending the round.
See, that moment bothered me too.
Yeah.
Like in a better film, you would let that round end.
Yeah.
And then maybe you have the final round where it's somewhat of it, where they can both come out on even footing. Tong Po ready to face the full might of Kurt.
I agree.
But no, the good guys are cheating.
Yep, I completely agree. So Kurt taunts Tong Po to get up. Freddie Lee is yelling at Tong Po to get up and fight. Everyone's yelling at Tong Po. Poor Tong Po. Not really. Fuck that guy. then Tong Po comes back into the ring with a torch.
A ringside torch.
It's unclear to me whether in the old way, like fighting is to the death. The rules were vague, apart from the accoutrement that would be used.
Dude, with the broken glass, I gotta assume that, anything could happen.
Is grabbing a torch okay?
That's poor form, right?
It seems completely off the rails. And if so, why does no one, if we know the rules, and the rules are just fight to the death with hemp and glass, why doesn't someone stop him, do something about it?
There was no referee in this fight, right?
Yeah,
it was just the two men. But there's no honor in winning by coming back with a torch.
I'm always curious about protocol in these situations. Like,
the good news is that it didn't even matter. It's like he didn't have a torch because friggin' Van Damme just does a flying kick.
Well, he does that double punch to the midsection and then kicks Tong Po back out of the ring.
I love the double punch to the chest.
Yeah. And then he beats him up against that pillar, which you can tell is not real stone because it's kind of wobbling a little bit.
It is. It's like visibly wobbling. Dude, I will say it was pretty funny when he took that slow motion kick to the face. Like he's snarling and then he just takes that heel right in his mouth. Like that's the one that knocks him out of the ring.
There's just so much Van Damming during all of this. So he KOs Tong Po with that kick. That wheel kick up to the face and then turns ever so slightly to kick Freddie Lee as well.
That was a sweet move. I liked it.
Freddie Lee gets off light in this movie for my taste.
Well, yeah, because we assume that he still is paid off the police and he's going to get away with it.
I guess maybe Master...
Well, no, maybe Master Warlord's going to kill him, right?
Master Warlord's probably going to have him killed.
Okay, fair.
I don't know because I never saw any of the sequels. Because
now there's a thing where when Kurt goes walking out of this shot, before the shot cuts away, the unconscious Tong Po picks his head up really quickly when I guess he thought the shot was over. He's just clearly Michel Kesey, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll cease to call him Tong Po. But anyway, it's just a goof.
Did you yell cut? I didn't hear. It's very loud in here.
All right, we're good.
So then the scene sort of devolves into lots of love and handshakes and hugs and lots of unanswered questions. And it feels so weird to just end it with all of them hanging out at ringside. Am I right?
I feel like in the world that we've been presented with, this is where Freddie Lee's got goons there that kill them all.
Right.
It's not just we can now just hang around and celebrate.
Unless Taylor is back there with his guns, but he's not. He's up there yucking it up at ringside.
Yeah, they're dapping each other up and like fist bumping, and
the ending is abrupt to say the very least.
And we're played out by the song "Never Surrender" by Stan Bush again.
Just fucking killing it.
Never surrender.
Like, why did it have to end so abrupt? I mean, they couldn't decide what would happen to everyone? Are the Sloans going to stay in Thailand? Did Kurt reciprocate Miley's love, or was it not as serious for him? Was he just looking for a bone? Like, one has to assume that there would have been swift retribution, like you say, from Freddie Lee and Master Warlord, so it wouldn't be safe for anyone to be down there just like chilling at the rings. There's so many questions.
Did you ever see any of the sequels?
No, I've never seen a single one of them. They may as well not have existed.
The second one, I liked it when I was little, but it's fucking terrible.
Right.
But they do answer some of the questions. Like in the first 5 minutes of the movie, Eric and Kurt are killed by Tong Po.
Okay.
Neither actor, I don't think, returned. They had sort of a Van Damme lookalike.
Okay.
And Tong Po kills them both.
Do you remember how?
Yeah, he shoots them with a gun. So now but then by doing that, he eliminates his chance at regaining his honor in the ring. So now Tong Po and his handlers, who's not Freddie Lee anymore, there's like another dude. Actually, it's the dude who played the main bad guy in the Mortal Kombat flicks.
Okay, the guy that played Shang Tsung?
Yeah.
Haruyuki Tagawa.
Oh, nice. And they come to America to fight the last remaining Sloan named David, who's played by Sasha Mitchell.
I do love some Sasha Mitchell. Yeah.
Who is Cody from Step by Step.
Oh, that's
usually just playing a stoner. But Michelle Kesey actually did return and played Tong Po again, and Dennis Chan was in it as Xian as well. And it's kind of fun. And then there was Kickboxer 3, The Art of War, it was called, which was odd. It had David Sloan and Xian busting up like a child sex ring in Brazil.
What the
hell,
man?
As I recall, it did not have a whole lot of kickboxing in it, but was more just like a shoot 'em up with a little bit of fighting. Like he was down there to be a kickboxing champion, and there was a Brazilian whatever, I don't know. The dude who organized the fight also had like a child sex ring, and it's just weird.
I might have to check out the second one.
The second one's cool.
With Cousin Cody. That's so funny.
Then the fourth one, Kickboxer 4, The Aggressor, had only Sasha Mitchell in it. I remember this one used to play late at night on USA a lot. And David Sloan, that's Sasha Mitchell, has been framed for murder by Tong Po, who's still around.
Jeez, man.
Who had also kidnapped his wife.
It's like a bad penny.
Yeah. Tong Po is now played by a different actor in this movie, but he's basically a drug lord living in Mexico because that's the next logical step for his character's arc. And he's staging a big fighting tournament. So the DEA says that they'll free David Sloan from prison for the crime he's been framed for if he'll go and enter the tournament and get Tong Po for them, since they don't have any jurisdiction to go in Mexico and do it themselves. So
there's a lot of that's sort of like Bloodsport meets Mortal Kombat meets just.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Very weird.
But he goes, you'll never guess that David actually does free his wife and busts up Tong Po's drug ring. But Tong Po does escape. Again, like setting up. And then there was actually a fifth one that I've never seen that has nothing to do with any of the others and no returning actors. I don't know anything about that one.
They need to bring it back. But
well, they rebooted, right? Have you watched any of those ones on Netflix?
No.
They got Van Damme in there kind of playing the Xian role.
Really?
Yeah, they're really dog shit though. They're really dog shit. The first one, the only thing that's cool is that Van Damme's in there.
I've never seen, like I say, any of the sequels, but if the second one is of any merit, just because Cousin Cody from Step by Step is in it, that might be one of those that's good fodder for a 6 Degrees blind taste test, which we're eventually going to be doing. We're going to be doing episodes where only one of us grew up liking the movie when we were kids, and the other of us won't have any clue what's happening, but we'll have just seen it recently.
I'm into it.
We'll look at it with two sets of eyes, one person who grew up with it fondly, and then another person who can look at it objectively and say, no, this is hot garbage.
Yeah, I like it. The first of the 2 Kickboxer reboot movies that are out there. The first one's called Kickboxer Vengeance, and it's sort of a rehash of the story of the original.
Okay.
The evil villain is Tong Po, played by Dave Bautista.
Okay.
Who's like
interesting.
in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies
yeah.
and in that James Bond flick.
He was a WWE wrestler.
I don't know why he's Tong Po. He's far from Asian.
So was Michelle Kesey.
And then there was one called Kickboxer Retaliation, in which the big bad guy was whatever the guy's name is, the guy who played the Mountain on Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Is like the big bad that he's got to fight.
Sven or Olaf or Leif or whatever his name is.
Something from Viking stock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Dude, before my phone battery dies here, I want to talk about a couple of other little things, little side tangents.
All right.
All right. Who wins in a fight between Kurt Sloan and Frank Dukes?
The same guy.
What do you mean?
They're the same
are
person.
Literally the same character. I feel like I don't even know.
I'm going to say Frank Dukes does because he has special forces training in addition to martial arts. That he is military.
See, I was sort of feeling like maybe Kurt Sloan's like got the magical whatever the fuck going on. He's got the power of the eagle. He's harnessed
got flying eagle powers.
And then the other, who wins between Tong Po and Chong Li? I want to rank the whole pecking order. I think Chong Li.
I think Chong Li also.
Yeah.
I think he's smaller, more compact, and I think Chong Li wins. And I
would love to see that fight though. That's like some fan fiction, like whatever dream matchup shit.
Batman versus Superman, even though that actually happened. But
I love the story you told earlier about this movie being released in Europe under like that Karate Tiger 3 title, which is just part of a series of movies with no connection to each other. They would just like take an American production and call it Karate Tiger and slap a number on the back of it.
Fantastic.
Dude, yeah, it's the shit.
It was a different time.
It was a different time, man. Now everything's globalized.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's
Dude,
amazing.
that was another one. We talked about another one.
Yeah, we did. We made it all the way through the end like we always do.
This is Van Damme at his finest, dude. This was peak Van Damme. This and Bloodsport. Yeah. That was as good as it was ever going to get for him.
It was literally all downhill from here.
He went on to more money and bigger budgets and everything like that, but I don't know that the movies were ever any better.
I can say without hesitation that they weren't.
You said you never really watched Lionheart much, did you?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I don't remember ever watching it all the way through, even on like TBS and stuff. Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, because I remember watching it. I just don't remember like it as vividly as these others. Now, like even less vividly than Cyborg, which I remember quite well.
What about Time Cop?
Time Cop is one that I barely remember also.
That was good. Sudden Death? The one that was during like a hockey game?
Was that the one with Damon Wayans or Wesley Snipes? Which one's in that?
No, Powers Booth was the bad guy.
No, but he had like a sidekick.
That was Double Team. Dennis Rodman was his sidekick. I never saw that one.
I never saw that one either.
He did Hard Target, that fucking John Woo flick. He did a lot of damn movies. He was cranking them out, dude. Universal Soldier.
Saw Universal Soldier.
I like that one. That one would be great for the 6 Degrees treatment.
Oh yeah, big time.
It's laughable. It's as laughable as it is entertaining.
With lots to look forward to. Lots to look forward to for you guys at home.
There's a lot on the horizon here. There's a never-ending supply of these movies, and I fucking love them.
Hope you guys are ready to continue the journey with us. Not on this movie, but on others. This movie's over.
No, we have said everything there is to say and then some. I think we need to put a pin in it.
We said some things that shouldn't have been said, I think. But hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hope you guys are all staying safe and sane at home, keeping healthy, taking care of yourselves. Eventually this will all be over, but we'll still be around. So we hope you'll tune in next week for some new content.
Yes. If you are enjoying what you're hearing, please tell your friends. Check us out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that.
At 6DOS podcast for your asses.
Yeah.
So check that out. Give us a like, but more importantly, listen and pass that love along. Tell your friends.
Yeah. We're trying to build a community here of people who grew up loving the same shit that we love.
Yes. It's good for you.
It's good. You
Maybe.
good fighter. You good.
You good.
I love it. All right, guys. I'm delirious, but
That's Kickboxer, baby.
that's Kickboxer. I hope you enjoyed having your box kicked.
We'll be back.